Hello, everyone. Welcome to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. I am your host, Cece Shatz. I'm the Doyenne of relationship building. I'm actually a divorce dating and a life coach, and it's so nice to have you here with us tonight. I know you're going to say, wow, she's in a different place. Well, I am. I'm actually at my daughter. So I'm in her office. Isn't it lovely with the bright beach colors? We're right here in sunny Florida, so everything is looking great. But we have a wonderful guest with us tonight, and she is all the way from Portland. And we are so pleased to have her tonight. But before we start the show, I just want to say and thank our sponsors here tonight. Our sponsors are Meet the Right One. .com and goingsolocommunity.com. Everything you find is right here on our goingsolomedia.com. So we hope you check it out because we've got a lot more shows, a lot more hosts, and some wonderful information that I'm sure that can help you. We are on the Date the Right One show, and that one is really trying to help you through some of your dating woes and really help define you as to who you are as you progress into this new dating world that we live in today. And so we have a wonderful guest. Her name is Date Doctor Alma, and Rubenstein is her last name. She's a nationally recognized dating expert, helping singles find the love every day. And she's a certified counselor or relationship advisor, offering everything needed for the dating success. So let's bring her forward here with us. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, it's so nice to have you all the way from Portland.
Yep, it's finally sunny in Portland. No more hail falls, just sunshine and green. So that's good.
It's great having you. Now, I tell you, you are very popular. You've been on The Bachelor, ABC. You've been on many well-known TV shows. You're really, truly a dating expert, helping those really travel through that transition. I think kind of dating, it's a bit of a transition that we go through because we're kind of developing ourselves along the way as we're embracing a new partner. So tell us your journey as to why you decided to go this route into helping individuals date.
Well, a few different things are in combination. So I was an actress for a long time in New York and LA, and dealing with rejection, not from a boyfriend or a girlfriend, but actually in your profession, you start to learn a lot that it's not necessarily about you. So I stopped comparing myself, my own trials and tribulations with, things from my past that I had to work through. And then my essence for love and fun. So I figured I just wanted to figure out how could I have fun with dating. And I was always just good at telling people, you need to wear this, you need to cut your nose hair, I need to take you shopping, you should talk to her. So it was just a way of bringing everything I was passionate about and things I've had from my past, just kind of an action plan as opposed to just a therapist saying, so you're having issues with this. I needed more homework and challenging things. So I just created my own program and here I am.
Well, it is great having you. I tell you, so many people struggle with dating because there's so many facets of it. There's so many elements with regards to dating. So tonight we're going to talk about mastering talking when you're dating and then flirting. And you're truly an expert in that. You've on The Bachelor, you talked about that. You have courses and things in which to teach individuals to help them through that. So let's talk a little bit about that mastering talking. So as we're moving through and we deciding we're going to go out there and start dating and everything, how would you suggest that, we can get started with it?
Well, I mean, talking and flirting, I feel like are the same thing. So I have my flirting notebook right here. This is from my curriculum because I teach flirting 101, 202, 303. But I have an acronym that I think will work whether it's for talking or flirting. So the first thing, flirt, F, fun. Whether you're talking or flirting, like we just have to have fun. This whole thing called the dating game, it's not really fun. It's excruciating. So if we could kind of go back, maybe let go of fear and just think about when you were young and, playing tag or you're in or running around tagging someone, just not making everything so serious. So it's almost like we have to reparent ourselves to go back to childhood, just have a little, let go a little. So that's the first first thing. The second thing, I would always tell someone, loosen up. Just take a deep breath. Part of, my acting training before you go on stage is, shake it off, pray up, whatever is stretch out, do a shot, whatever you need to do to just breathe. And also, I tell people to look in the mirror, love yourself, because you're the person for sale. You're trying to market yourself. Then I flirt intimacy. So whether you're talking to someone or flirting with someone, you have to create intimacy, and it's very uncomfortable for a lot of people. But if you don't do it, you're not going to get what you want. So it's very vulnerable. But people always say, I want love, I want dating, I want romance, I want sex, but then they're waiting for the other person to do something. So I encourage people to just, take a risk, which brings me to R, like, you have to take a risk, you have to take a chance. They're not just going to come knocking on your door. Hi, Cece, I heard you're looking for someone to date and love. You have to take a risk. You have to put yourself out there. And then my last thing, which is T, flirt at the end, it's a two-way street. It really is. So if you want someone to flirt with you, if you want someone to love you, I always say whatever is missing in the relationship, you provide it yourself. So if you give something, you'll probably get it back. So those are my tips for talking and flirting, which they're kind of the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Very great information. So often I think we get too bogged down with, thinking about dating, right? Thinking about going out there and talking to someone. And then when we see somebody that we think, oh, they're good looking or whatever, we kind of sparks an interest in us, then we freeze, right? And we're afraid to say anything. But the reality is they kind of feel the same way too. So often if you just start with just simple conversation, and so are there a few opening lines that you can think about that you might want to share?
Well, for me, I'm a bit of a goofball. I love to use humor, and I think that's just a great way. So you don't always have to tell the truth. I mean, you can compliment someone, notice something specific about them, and wow, what is that cologne you're wearing? Or I really love the color of your eyes. Notice something specific. You can also, flirting a little, you can say, were you in my dreams last night? Or did I see you at the coffee shop yesterday? So if it's a question, then it's easy to engage because most people will answer you. So it doesn't have to be excuse me, are you single? It can just be kind of casual. It can be very playful. Now, I forgot to grab some lint, but I'm going to tell you, this is one of the best dating funny things you can do. So everyone, probably, you have a dryer, right, Cece?
Mm-hmm.
In your house. So you know how there's lint and you clean out the lint.
Right.
Okay? I've done this on national TV. It works. So you always want to have a little bit of lint with you. Just a little bit. Keep it in your pocket. Keep it in your purse. Say, you're in the grocery store, you're at a bar, something. You have that lint. Say there's someone attractive in front of you or next to you. You can just lightly touch them and say, oh, excuse me, you have this lint on you. And they'll say, oh my God, thank you. I'm so, it's kind of goofy, but it's free and it's fun. And then even if you do it once, you can be like, there's another, I like overkill. So those are some things you can do. As far as I like humor, I like complimenting. And one thing I do want to add, like you said, sometimes you can go into a room and then the person you're most attracted to, you can't talk to them, right? It's the other people you can talk to. So what I tell people is you always want to be practicing. So whether it's the person you're attracted to or not, why can't you just talk and get it out, whether it's the barista at Starbucks or it's, the person next to you at the bar. I just feel like it's good practice. And what I will say is this, women, right? We talk to each other all the time. We flirt with each other. I might be like, Cece, I love that top. I love the colors. And I don't even have to know you. And then all of a sudden women are exchanging phone numbers, right? So it's like,
Mhm.
why can't we do that? Whether we're trying to attract the opposite sex, same sex, depending, what your dating preference is. But I think it's really great to be self-expressed. And I was on a plane last week. We actually did a dating boot camp in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico for men. It was awesome. And the flight attendant, he just had this beautiful physique. Now I always notice if there's a ring. He was married, but his physique was just so beautiful. And I just wanted to say, you have a beautiful physique. And most people would think, oh, you can't flirt with someone that's married. Or why can't they get a compliment? And it felt good. It's like you're at a museum and you're admiring art. So I encourage people, if you see something, say something.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the lint because it kind of reminds me of the old fashioned, where the ladies used to drop their hankies,
Yes,
right? And the guys would pick them up and they would purposely drop them just so the guy would, go by the guy and that he would pick them up. And I thought that was really good.
yeah. Sometimes we have to give people the green light because they're just as afraid as we are. So I always kind of tell people, pretend there's a flashing green light in front of anyone you like, and it's saying, go, 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 approach.
Right, absolutely. Well, they always say too, you go into the supermarket, the grocery store, and the produce is a good place because you can talk about the fruit. You can say, "Oh, do you know when this? Can you tell if this is ripe or whatever?" You could do
Yeah.
something like that. And wine, you go into a store where there's wine, and there's always, even though you might know what you want to pick out,
Oh,
you can
yeah.
always ask.
Yeah.
So
Always. When there's people around and there's not a ring on their finger, everyone's up for grabs.
yeah, I love that. I also like the idea of when you said, "Oh, did I see you in the coffee shop last week?" or something like that. Even though you didn't go to the coffee shop, you could just say that. Although you better know where you're gonna say you're gonna go. But
You can
you,
pick up anything, and that's I want to read to you in a minute the definition of flirting, but it really means to play, like act amorously, and part of it is playing, like saying, you go to the coffee shop, you're playing. You don't have to tell the truth. You're trying to create a reason to talk to someone to break the ice. So there are no rules.
right. And so let's just talk a little bit about the atmosphere of when you're talking with someone. Sometimes, you'll see somebody that they're just like real serious, right? And that's a little bit put offish, isn't it? When someone tends to be a little bit when they're trying to talk to you and they're a little serious. So it is good to just kind of be a little lighthearted,
Yeah.
a little laughing because I think men like it when you laugh and you smile.
Yeah.
I'm always told all the time I smile a lot. You got a great smile, that kind of thing. So I'm always told that. So I mean, I'm thinking that if you keep it lighthearted, it's easier to just kind of flow into a little bit of a conversation, right?
Yeah, and
Mhm.
you can also like mimic them, or you can say, wow, what's so serious? What's going on over here?
Mhm.
You kind of, I always say, attack your fear or whatever is there and you don't like. Just bring up the elephant in the room because then it might create a clearing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what about safety when we're talking? Because we do always want to keep that in mind when we are approaching somebody that's a stranger to us. Any thing that you can suggest with regards to that?
Well, I I mean, you're not gonna, go in their personal space and you're not gonna
Yeah.
touch them. Although sometimes, I feel like you can touch someone on the shoulder and, you know, um, as far as, I do have a lot of men when I go out in the field with them. A lot of them will say, especially in today's dating culture, I don't want to do too much. I don't want her to think I'm a creep. Might be married, and they're so in their head they're afraid to do anything.
Mhm.
And the thing is, and I said, okay, well then you don't want her to think you're hitting on her. And then I say, well, what do you really want to do? And they say, hit on her. So it's
Mhm.
kind of like if you just be the truth, but be respectful. And I would say that to men and women. There's no reason why you can't flirt. It's not like you're touching their body parts or you know just, but you need to, use your eyes, use, your femininity, your masculinity. You have to use all these things. You use, your body language, eye contact, your movement. I mean, a lot of training that I had as an actor, fake it till you make it. And a lot of times when people would walk in the room, they would just kind of walk in, they're, doing their thing, they're on their phone. And I always tell people, slow everything down. Just by slowing everything down, shoulders back, making eye contact, just by doing that, you're already more sexy. So it's just kind of engaged, and you almost want to make it seem like if you want them to look at you, you need to kind of look at them looking at you. So it's like you kind of got to put it out there. You have to play the part, and you will get rewarded. I promise.
Yeah, you're right with that because I've talked to several men and they'll say, well, I've seen a woman walk in the room and, and they'll watch, right? They'll watch you.
Yeah.
And so they'll spot someone that they might have an interest in or whatever. Right. And then they will keep an eye on you. And so if you start making eye contact with them, if you start looking over their way, that kind of gives them, come on over. I'm interested. It's the yes signal, right? And so that gives them that. Yeah.
It's funny because it's like we're all grown adults, right? We're homeowners, we have good jobs, we're grown-ups. But then when it comes down to bare bones, we're still little boys and little girls fearful of rejection. And it's so funny because some of the clients that I've worked with, major people like Microsoft, Intel, engineers, and I'm horrible with math, science, computers, but I can teach anyone the gift of gab. So it's very interesting how some people can excel at something and then be horrible at something else. So it's good for people like us that can help people,
Yeah, absolutely. That's true because, they just don't know. A lot of people kind of live in their world, right?
Yeah.
And then when they're thrown into this new world of dating, because we deal with a lot of individuals that come from like long-term marriages and divorce and now moving into, and this is a whole new world of dating for them.
Absolutely.
Online dating and all of that. What would you say about online dating?
Well, oh golly, I wish there was online police because there are so many scams. There really are. And back in the day, when internet dating first started, I mean, the first love of my life when I was living in Los Angeles, I met this wonderful lawyer. It was the first man I ever fell in love with was called matchmaker.com back in the day. Mm-hmm. And it was safe then. And now, I do a lot of matchmaking for people and I help them with their profiles, but they're, the free ones, sometimes you get what you pay for. Mm-hmm. You need to be careful because there's all these, they'll say, go to my website or do you have WhatsApp or Google Voice? And, they'll say, well, I'm in the military and I'm working in another country. So you need to just really be aware if they're not in the state, if you can't video chat them, if you can't set up a date in a few days, they're probably not real. And it's really unfortunate. And every day I hear horrible stories about people that were scammed thousands and thousands of dollars. So that's why it's also good to hire a matchmaker.
Right. And so they need to be smart about it. Absolutely. Yeah. And I agree. I mean, sometimes I think you need it's very successful for some on online dating. If you have to be smart about it, right? You have to continue it to be safe. And, my philosophy is if they're not, within where you can drive to get a hug, then why do you want to try to date them?
I love that. Right. And then some people, I had a woman, she talked to a man over text for like 4 months and she sent him over $5,000. And, so it is another point I want to bring up when you said people are re-entering the dating world. So some of my clients, and you probably have this too, they married their high school sweetheart and now they don't even know who they are outside of a husband or a wife or a mother or a father. So a lot of times the work that we do is we try and figure out who they are, what do they like, as opposed to maybe just throwing them in to start dating. I mean, there's, I'll ask them, I'll say, okay, do you have some good date outfits? Is your home ready? And then, they might be like, well, my wife bought all my clothes clothes for them, and I'm like, well, we're going shopping. Or, we gotta figure out who they are as an individual before they start, automatically just gravitating to somebody else.
Right, right. Well, let's take a short break. And when we come back, let's talk a little bit more in depth of not only your matchmaking, tell us a little bit about that, because some people don't really understand what a matchmaker is, what they do, those kind of things, how it can be different from online dating. And then we can also talk a little bit about that, like some of the tips that we can give those about, being groomed and all that. You think we shouldn't have to say some of the things that we say, but sometimes people need to be reminded, right?
Yeah.
I know, absolutely. So it's a little crazy when we talk about that. But of course, everyone, we have with us Date Doctor Alma, and she's with us here today. We absolutely love her. She's a joy to be with, and she's definitely helping us here. And so we want to thank you all for that. All of our show notes on our shows, you can find all of her information there, so you can reach her there, and we hope that you will. So we are going to take a short break. You're listening to Date the Right One. I am Cece Shatz, and we'll be right back.
Dear Jeffrey, I'm writing to you to remind you that Mother's Day is coming fast upon us. I'm also writing to remind you that your mother and I will have been married 50 years that day. Son, I was window shopping at Quest Fine Jewelers in Fairfax the other day. As you know, Quest Jewelers has been our family jeweler for over 20 years. This year again, Quest Jewelers didn't disappoint. They have so many fine pieces of jewelry, and the staff there were so friendly and helpful. The quality and brilliance of Quest Jewelry has always made the perfect gift for our family. Son, I found your mother a Mother's Day pendant necklace and a very special 50th wedding anniversary ring I'm sure she'll be very excited about. Let's meet there this Saturday and get the perfect gift for your mom for this Mother's Day. Who knows? Maybe you will find something for your girlfriend, Amy. Quest Fine Jewelers is located at 8431 Lee Highway, Fairfax, Virginia. Their website, www.questjewelers.com, or you can call them at 703-204-0111.
Well, we're back. Welcome back. This is Date the Right One. You're listening to WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network. We're a radio, TV, and a podcast station. We are the #1 internet singles talk network, and we want to thank you all for listening to us. Those of you that don't know, we are on Roku and Amazon TV, so check us out there. And then also 54 other podcasting platforms, so you can pretty much listen to us everywhere. And so we want to thank you for doing that. So let's get on with our host today. We are listening to Date Dr. Alma, and she is a nationally recognized dating expert. She's helping singles through really finding love every day. She's a matchmaker. She's a certified counselor, a relationship advisor. She's been pretty much on most national television stations. She was on The Bachelor. She really knows her stuff, and it is an honor to have her here with us today. So thank you so much. We are so appreciative of the time that you're spending with us here today. The first part of the show, you talked a lot about really trying to communicate, trying to set up some conversation, some easy flowing, carefree, fun conversations to kind of get to know someone. And then just doing a little bit of flirting, really what comes naturally to you, and giving us some really good advice on that. But this part of the show, I'd like to try to talk about a matchmaker, because I think people, including maybe myself, would like to know more about what you do and how is it so different from online dating, because we have many that struggle with dating. They struggle with that transition of a relationship loss, moving through into, trying to sort out a new partner in their life. And sometimes they struggle a little bit with what it is that they're looking for and who are they stepping into becoming because they're becoming someone new, right? And it's kind of like a new door that's opening for them. So share with us a little bit about what you do.
So with online dating, those are not guaranteed dates. You are
Mhm.
a profile, weeding through things yourself, hoping you may get a date or not. What matchmakers do, or what I do, we do background checks on everyone. We want to make sure, they don't have any felonies. We want to make sure they're financially stable. Also, there's a big difference in cost between online or a matchmaker. So what I will say is, $30 a month or doing Bumble or Tinder for free, you will probably get a different caliber of person. Not saying that they're not a good person online, but when people are ready to sign on the dotted line, it says something about them, meaning they want to meet someone like you and they're willing to pay for it because it's a full-time job. There's tons of matchmakers out there. So what a matchmaker does is they really get to know you, who you are, everything from religion to politics to, love languages, all that. And then they set you up on dates with people. And these are guaranteed dates. And the people are screened. And there are tons of matchmakers out there. I think even before, matchmaking has been around for years. I'm a Christian Jew, but I'm Jewish. Yenta, Jewish matchmaking has been around, speed dating forever. But especially since COVID, and because there's been so many scams online, people like knowing that someone has done the work for them. So literally, all you have to do is show up on the date or answer the phone, and it's dating.
Sorry.
Puppy dog, looking for love. Oh, my dog is barking with your dog. So anyway, that is Manny Berman, and he is my matchmaking mascot. I should introduce him to you, right?
Oh.
We love these animals, don't we?
Well, they're really protecting us today. Okay, all right, come here, Tucker. Come on. I am actually babysitting for my daughter's dogs, and so we have people going by on
There's
boats.
all kinds of matchmakers in all parts of the world. And I don't know if you're familiar with Patty, the millionaire matchmaker. So she has her own show on Bravo. So Patty, I've known for many years. She, over the years, has set me up on dates. So Patty, she's a little, she's out there. She charges men 50 grand, 75 grand, and she has millionaires and women don't have to pay. So I'm too old now for her to set me up. But when I first met her, her energy was intoxicating. And I had no idea that I would be a matchmaker. I just knew I either wanted to be friends with her or I wanted to work for her. And then 15 years later, I'm doing the same thing. I'm not as famous, not yet.
Well, that is great. I tell you what, I know that you do really a great job because you wouldn't be all over the national television if you didn't. But it's really a unique thing I think matchmakers do. Now, let me ask you: do you have people that sign up for free, or do they all have to pay to sign up for you? Like, how do you create your database?
Yeah. So the thing is, the coaching. I mean, I fly a lot of places. I do workshops. I do events all over the United States. Like I said, we just did a dating boot camp for men in Puerto Vallarta, which was amazing. So as far as, I'm located in the Northwest. I'm in New York a lot and in LA a lot. People can call me. I have a database all over the United States. Also, I have something called kamikaze coaching. So I will fly to where they are and we'll work together for a couple days, very intensive, and we'll work on everything from their image to their issues to their online profile to I'll set them up on dates. So it's kind of like a crash course in dating, everything you need to know in a couple days. And my whole thing is I'm not a regular therapist where I need to see you for years. My goal is I see you a few times and I get rid of you because you're ready to fly.
But that is terrific. And we do have your contact information up so everyone can see it. Your phone number is 206-225-4952. So again, that's 206-225-4952. You can find her website, www.datedoctoralma, and it's DATEDOCTORALMA.com. And then, of course, if you want to email her, it's doc@doc that date Dr. Alma. I was like,
A lot of D's.
We're having a real good day today. But anyhow, the best way to do is just check her out, look at her website. I think you'd enjoy that. And then give her a call, 206-225-4952. So that would be the easiest way. But, I think it's important for us to be able to really sometimes have that one-on-one. And so I think, what you do is really important. So it's, as we move through, and like I said, there's so many facets with regards to dating. So you can get hung up in a particular area that you really don't need to be, right? And so it's a great way to be able to do that. So if you are I know you're in the Portland area, like you said, you go to New York, Los Angeles. So if you're listening, you're in those areas, that's very accessible. And then of course, if you truly want to connect, then you'll do a specialty one. And so that's terrific. So
part of my Israeli army training, it's called Kamikaze Coach.
Were you in the service?
I was, yeah. My father was born in Israel. My mother's also Jewish, but I'm kind of a Christian Jew, but I work on both sides. Mm-hmm. So, but yes, that's why I'm really tough with love and life.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, you are definitely, just an inspiration, and, your energy level is tremendous high. That's another thing. Let's talk a little bit about that, because I know we're going to have to close out here in a minute, but let's talk a little bit about someone's energy level, because your vibration when you're deciding that you want to go and date, right? Your vibration level needs to be at a good level, right? At a good stream and excitable and enjoyable, right?
You can't be a Debbie Downer. I mean, the way I look at it, people should look at every date. It could be your last date. So if you can just have respect for the other person, whether you walk in the room and you're like, oh, they're not my type. You never know. Their brother might be your type, or you might actually connect. So just, have that common courtesy that they put themselves on the line just like you. And just be good to yourself, because it is hard. But I always say too, when you're picking something to do on a date, pick something that you wanted to do anyway, and something maybe interactive. So it's not just like you're sitting across from each other, a coffee, and it's like, oh my God, this is horrible. You're going to a flea market, or you're going to a garage sale, or some kind of interactive thing. So you're still having fun.
Yeah. I think one of the worst first dates is going to a movie, because you're not talking to each other.
Absolutely. Yeah. Not even. It should be till like the fourth date. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely. I so agree. But I do think that it's important to really start loving your life and loving life out there. And so when you're doing that comes across, and people want to be with you. They want to gravitate to you. And something you said too is so valuable, because even though, like you said, that maybe the person you're meeting is maybe not the one, right? But you're one step closer to finding the one, right? Because you're doing something proactive to be able to move forward. And so that's why it's so important. So if you guys feel like you need a matchmaker, that you kind of want to maybe step aside from the online dating, do something different, change it up a little bit, give her a call, and it's at 206-225-4952. Give Dr. Alma a call, and just talk to her a little bit about what you're going through, and I'm sure that she'd be able to have some great advice for you, and possibly get you on the road here of really introducing you to someone that is the right match for you. So that would be great, right?
That's right.
Yeah, terrific. So we're going to have to close out. Are there any last words that you'd like to share with us?
Well, I would say always do something, because if you do nothing, you have no chances. So if you talk to someone, if you ask someone out, your odds are better than Las Vegas because you have a 50% chance of actually getting what you want.
Oh, that's great advice. You know, the reality is when you do something, you're actually taking control of your life, right? You're taking control of the next steps of your life, and you're propelling and you're moving forward. And that's really what we want to do. You know, I've often said movement of choice. You make a choice and then you decide to how to go about making that happen for you. And that's truly what you want to do. So I want to thank you so much for being on the show with us here tonight. We've been talking about kind of one of the most difficult things, you know, introducing, talking to someone, mastering that talking, flirting a little bit, and kind of getting that first step of connection. And once you do that, you can really kind of move forward in a very positive way.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. We truly appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Well, it has been great. I tell you what, the time goes by very fast. You guys are listening to Date the Right One here on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. I am Cece Shatz, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.